Hello my creative friend, Olga Soby here. Welcome to new fluid art tutorial. Oh, today it's gonna be interesting. I have this 20 by 24 inches cradle wood panel and I have created some interesting texture on it. So I used a combination of mediums. I used molding paste, which is a texture medium. It's designed to hold its shape. And I also mixed in some of the sand medium, so it has sand texture. I'm not really going for sand look on this painting, but I just wanted to give some areas of my painting like extra texture. So I'm gonna pour right over the texture and let's see how it's gonna dry. Let's see how it's going to turn out. Of course, I have created some composition. I want to go for the oceany, abstract oceany painting. I've prepared some of my blues here, and yeah, with that said, let's jump right to the process. I'm very excited to get started, so let's go. Freedom, secret message for this painting. I'm definitely after creative freedom, the self-expression freedom. And for me, pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and combining techniques, trying new things, this is definitely a very important and inspiring aspect of being an artist and this creative freedom. So, okay, let's pour out those colors. And this one here is a mix of phthalo blue and phthalo green. So you can see it's a very gorgeous turquoise color. And at this moment, I don't really need to worry about following the shapes of my texture because I want the whole panel to be covered with colors before I'm actually going to be shaping the flow of my fluid acrylics with the shape of the texture. It's going to be interesting. So I love this color, it's gorgeous. This one here is phthalo blue, and I added a little bit of cobalt blue in it. Okay, this pretty color is iridescent turquoise. It's iridescent blue-green. I added a little bit of extra phthalo blue in it, but it will overmix regardless with colors on my canvas. So, okay, you know what? Let's add some white right away. So this is just titanium white. No, I will add more white later. Oh, this is cool. Okay, I want to cover the whole canvas with my colors. I'm gonna be doing some swiping today with dark Prussian blue, but before doing swipes, I wanna cover the whole canvas. So you know what? Let's try to blow these colors. Let's see how it's gonna work over the texture. You know what? I think I also want to tilt it because I see that some sections of my canvas have lots of paint and it gets a little bit stuck on that texture when I try to blow it. Okay, so now I'm gonna add more white. And I'm aiming at the section where I have the most texture, like the recent part, the elevated parts of the texture. Kind of can see them against the light, although fluid paint did level them out a bit. Oh, this is a lot of white. And I think I might add more stuff, more paint, more design and embellishment when it's dry. But yeah, I need to see how it dries first. I need to make sure that it's all good and according to my plan. I don't know if my swiping is actually gonna work, because the palette knife that I have prepared will probably get stuck on some of those texture sections. I don't know. So let the swiping begin. Actually, I'm gonna turn it this way. I'm working on my spinner and kind of right with my finger, I'm gonna find that texture and I'm gonna dip my palette knife into Prussian blue. Let's try the swiping. It's pretty cool. This is the reaction that I'm after, but I was worried that it wouldn't work because of all of the texture. It works. And of course, all the colors I mixed with my recipe, and I explained my layering method to get the cell reaction in my course. So if this is something you're interested in, check it out. But for those of you who took my course, all the base colors are from group number 1, and this Prussian blue is group number 2. It's interesting how it gets stuck, and in some parts it doesn't actually work. But there is something about it. That's what I'm after. I'm exploring here. I'm seeing how it reacts. And yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting, especially when it's dry, because right now paint, it's sort of leveled out and hiding some of the texture, but when it dries, the water will evaporate from the paint and the texture will become a lot more apparent. So far, it works out amazing. Definitely better than I even anticipated when I was worried that texture wouldn't allow me to swipe so freely and get this beautiful reaction. But I keep looking against the light because only against the light I can kind of see exactly where my texture is. I should have taken a picture and keep it by my side as a little hack for me, because I do want these swipes to match the shape of my texture for the most part. I am beyond happy with it so far, and adding white in the areas connecting this white with my flow definitely creates gorgeous composition. And I know the cameras, generally speaking, have very hard time picking up turquoise color. If you ever tried taking a picture of painting that has a bunch of turquoise, you would know what I'm talking about. It looks kind of blue. So most likely for you, the whole painting looks in different shades and values of blue. But in reality, it has some blue, especially where I have my phthalo blue with cobalt. This is like a true, pure blue color, but most of it is turquoise blue. So this color combination is definitely candy to my eyes because it has all of these different values and different shades of blue and turquoise. But let's see how it dries. I kind of have a plan of what I might do with it when it's dry, but I want to see it first, so I'll see you in a moment. Alright, my friends, so the painting is dry, and I have to say that I'm onto something freaking amazing with this new combination of texture and fluid paint. I wasn't sure how it's gonna dry, how am I gonna like it once it's dry over such a intense texture, because before I was doing sort of separation of texture versus no texture. This one has texture all over, and I was able to match kind of the movement of my layout, so that worked. But there has been a problem. In quite a few areas of my painting, if you're gonna look closer, I got small cracks. Like you can see here, here, here. Like it's not major, but they are kind of all throughout the painting. This one is the biggest one probably. And the reason why this happened, and I was analyzing afterwards, is because when I applied texture, I only let it dry for about 3-ish days. And it was not enough because first of all, when you apply a thicker layer of paint, especially if it's a heavier texture, make sure to let it dry for at least a week, because if the moisture is still in the gel or in the paste, chances are the surface of the paint on top of it is going to crack, like happened right here. And for regular pour, if I wasn't doing it on a texture, getting all these cracks, especially this one right here, it would be a disaster. For this painting, although this is what I love so much about it, it's actually not a problem at all. So now I need to fill in some of those cracks, and they will not be visible once, you know, the whole painting is finished. Or even if they will be visible, they will look intentional because there are so many lines and, you know, there's sand texture, everything. So for this painting, I think of it as it was meant to be. It was a way for me to add extra texture to this piece, but I will definitely not do the same thing next time. So yeah, lesson learned. This is a little bit of intro for you guys. If you also want to play with texture and fluid paint, make sure to let it dry. And now I'm gonna fill in some of those cracks. Of course, I'm gonna do it with matching colors, the same that I used for the pour itself. But usually when I do my touch-ups, I use fluid acrylics because I like to add thin layers. This time it's different because I want to fill in some of those cracks. I'm using paint right from the tube, so it's not fluid because I need a little bit more body in that paint so I'm able to fill in those cracks. Now, once all the touch-ups are dry, I decided to add a little bit of gold to this painting. And I already have quite gorgeous color palette with all the blues and turquoise, but I decided to add, you know, another layer of depth and create some nice accents, really emphasize the texture, all the relief and all the resin parts. So I don't want to add a whole lot of gold, just nice touches here and there, especially in the leading lines of my composition. And as a final layer, I decided to cover this piece with epoxy resin. Not too much, just enough to add that shine and really help all those colors, the metallic colors especially, shine brighter and my gold, but keep all the texture. So I added a very fine layer of epoxy and I think it looks absolutely fabulous. It added that chic, that shine and gloss, but still kept all the beautiful texture and all the interesting elements in this painting. Of course, I'm removing the tape and keeping all the clean wood edges. This is what I absolutely love doing when I'm working on cradle wood panels. And voila, here is this painting done and finished. And you know what? Even from the very first step of creation of this piece, of the preparation of my wood panel and then creation of the texture, all the pouring and swipes and then adding gold and adding epoxy on top, it has been such a journey and I truly enjoyed every step of this journey. This painting is absolutely magical for me. I have been staring at it for hours and that doesn't happen with every painting. I really hope you also enjoy this journey, this multi-step creation with me as much as I did. And this piece is available for purchase on my website in case you're interested. And if you want to continue learning with me, check out my new online course. The link is going to be just above here, so check it out. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, create with passion, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.